Right, good morning people. It's been a while since I've made a video, just personal life gets in the way. Done a track day not too long ago, which is one of my previous videos, and I think we're going to start making some changes on it. A couple of little performance changes, and we've got a couple of just maintenance jobs that we need to do as well. It's had a bit of a hard life for the last year or so. So we'll get on and I'll show you what I'm going to do to the vehicle today. So I've got a stack of parts. I've had these literally since I've replaced the arms nearly 2 years ago, and these are the HardRace 30mm shorter link rods, and the HardRace D-bushers as well, or the axle mounts, just stiffened rubber. We've got some rally flaps, purely because, excuse that bit, there's actually resting on that side scale on the ramp, so let's pull that out a little bit, but you can see it's starting to wear away at all the paint. So we're going to stick some rally flaps on. Just see it a little bit better on there, and hopefully that'll just help minimise that. It's not a show car, and the paint is very, it's not too bad a condition. The front end's been painted before, and it's starting to show its marks. We've got a little crack there, we've got stone chips everywhere. You can see I've dug a screwdriver in there to get the thing out for track days. Some more stone chips, and the bonnet's pretty much the same as well. So it is just a fun track day toy, and I'm not too worried about leaving it in car parks and stuff like that. So if we get dinged, I'm not overly worried about it. So I've also got a recurring traction light that keep coming on. Now if you look at the actual values on the diagnostic machine, it actually shows that the rear wheel bearing on the passenger side is actually moving when the car is stood still. So you can get the sensor separately. I think they're about 30 quid from Ford. I got the whole bearing assembly, that was about 75 quid from Ford, I think it was, and it comes with a sensor anyway. So it just rules out whether it's the exciter ring in the bearing or the sensor. So we'll start with that, and we'll go from there. Got an oil filter and a cabin filter. Just do a little minor service on it. I'll show you all that I use. What I've got. So this is the oil that I put in, 040 Cashel Edge. It's RS spec oil, so that do well on the track days. And then we've got some Turbosmart bits to fit, Recerc valve, and also the wastegate as well. It's not going to stay on there. So yeah, we'll get these fitted, and then the only thing with this car, when you drive it around track, the boost just cuts in instantly, and it's very difficult to feather the throttle around the corner. So I think it's more likely the map it's going to be a little bit up and down, as I don't know who mapped it last, but it gives you all the boost all the fucking time, and that's just not good going around track. So we're going to fit these actuators and the Recerc valve, and we'll go from there. We'll get it remapped and get a little bit of a custom map on it, and yeah, we'll try again. But I'm going to start with taking the wheels off and see where these bits are fitted in relation to the turbo. So I'll come back to you when I've got the wheels off. Right, I've just got the wheels off, just having a look where these things are. And it seems like it's already got, if I can get you in there, a Turbosmart Recerc valve. So We ain't got to change that, but it has got a standard actuator, so we will change that. Just debating whether to get to it from the top or the bottom. Either way, I don't think it'll be a very pleasant experience, so I want to get the bonnet up and get the scuttle off and see if access is any better at the top. Well, I've got some bits off now, so I've got the scuttle panel off, got the strut brace off, I've got that's a Ram Air alloy crossover tube to go with the Ram Air filter, and I think I've made the right decision. I can easily get to that now. So I've got the adjustment screw here, and then I just need a couple of 10mm, one there and one at the bottom there. Undo that adjustment screw, undo the pipe on the other side, and that should come out. And now hopefully I can put the new one in. Do say to snug it up and then adjust the preload by turning the preload 2 turns. But that ain't that type of actuator. It's got the clevis pin on it. Not really too sure. So what I'll do is I'll wind all that back down there like that, and then I'll use the little wheel on the clevis pin, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully that gets set. That's a 7 psi one. But trouble is, I won't know that's set to 7 psi unless I test it, and I ain't got no way of testing it. So I'll just set the preload and see what happens. So I'll get the old one off and then we'll compare them. Right, as you can see, I've had to take this bottom crossover pipe off to the turbo. It sits there to get to that bottom bolt, if I can hopefully show you. This one here, it's 10mm nut, but that's loose, and I've just taken the pipe off the boost controller valve, which is just there. So hopefully I can finish undoing the top nut and take that whole unit out. Right, so that's out. Very fiddly to get out. So that's the standard one. That's obviously the Turbosmart one. Apart from that bottom bolt, you need to take off the boost pipe. Just make things easier really, and it's easier to take it off that end than it is that end, because trying to get to that end is a nightmare when it's in the car. But this top bolt here, which goes into this compressor housing, you get so far out it fouls up on this oil pipe. So I've loosened that nut off there, and then just got a lever bar and just swung it over a little bit just to get that bolt out a couple of threads. And that's the little bolt. And so it's not a big bolt, but it just hung in a couple of threads because that was that pipe was in the way. So now I'm going to get this bracket on here, which is obviously a direct replacement for that one, and then I'll then bolt the wastegate to that, if that makes sense. So that first, then that. If I put that onto that first and then bolt that in, I think I'll be fighting myself. These bolts aren't too difficult to get to. I'll get this on and I'll show you what I mean. Right, as suspected, taking it off this end was the best idea, because the barb fitting on there is slightly bigger than the barb fitting on there, so it's a bit tight to get on. That will go, but it's a little bit tight, so trying to do that when that's on the car would have been a nightmare. So this end hasn't changed, that should just slide straight back on again. So what I'm going to do is I am going to fit this onto the bracket that we've just fitted and try and set it up. Now I don't know whether You can see where this old nut was. So I don't know whether to try and measure that and match that up, or do as the instructions say and get it so it's finger tight, and then crank it 2 turns, which give you 2mm of preload, which should then be 7 psi, but who knows. Right, let's crack on. Right, here we are again. Right, so I've got that all fitted. Just be aware that they do supply stainless nuts, so if you drop them, a magnet is not going to get them. Trust me, I've learnt the hard way. Right, so I've set up this adjustment here. So I've wound it in until it's fairly tight, which means all the slack is out of it. And if you look, that's got a little dimple there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that so I see that dimple twice, and the second time I know I've done 2 full rotations of the preload nut, and then I can then just tighten this nut up against that to stop that from loosening up, and then hopefully that will give me my 2mm or 2mm of preload, which should be about 7 psi, is what the instruction says. Again, I can't put a gauge and pressurise it because I haven't got one small enough with an adjuster on it to give me 7 psi, unfortunately. So I'm going to do it that way, and when it gets maps, if they need to adjust it, they need to adjust it, and you can still get to it from the bottom, which is quite good. So I'll get it on the ramp and adjust it if need to. But yeah, I'm just going to adjust that, and then we'll start putting it all back together again. Right, we're slowly getting it all back together again. Crossover pipe is back on. I've been having troubles with this RS backline pipe. I keep coming up the clips, so I've put a bit of rubber tubing around it with a cable tie there, so it should now keep it up. And that is the vacuum free brake, so you need to make sure that don't split. What else have we done? Oh yeah, the air filter. It's getting a bit grubby. It's been on there nearly 2 years now, so I gave it a clean and a re-oil. So just waiting for that oil to soak in for a bit, and then we'll fit that back on. All the underneath is all buttoned up. So yeah, just need to fit the air filter back on. Did the strut brace and all the cowling, and I'll come back to you when that's all done. Right, that's all done now. It's all back together. All scuttle panel wipers on. All underneath is all buttoned up. So we're just gonna just see if it starts and hopefully not blow up. Right, let's go for it. Seem alright at the minute. I guess I won't know until I take it down the road. The boost gauge that do go all the way up to the end, 1.2 bar. I don't know if it's been boosted to over that or if that's on its limit of the gauge, but as I say,
good job. Good job. Really good job.
there we go. That's that bit done. and we'll go on to the next job, which I think is going to be roll bar. Alright, we're on to the roll bar links. I sprayed them up with WD-40. These are simple enough to do by the looks of it, but I don't know how I'm going to get in to do them axle mounts rubbers, because they are proper tucked in. I can't even get the camera in there. That's how tucked away they are. There you go, that's one bolt, and I can't even see the other bolt. I can't even get to it to underneath either. That's like right in the middle of the subframe. So I won't be dropping the subframe to do it, I can tell you that much. So we will have to see. Right, let's get links done anyway. Right, you can see how much shorter that is. That's level there. As you come down, they say they're 30mm shorter, and yeah, it's about 30mm. I haven't even undone the second track or the second roll bar link yet, but that's in the bottom there. Move that out of the way, and that's where it comes to. So I'm going to have to release the other side to bring the roll bar up so we can get that one bolted in. Right, that's them links in. Top and bottom, the same on the other side as well. So just need to figure out how to do the maximum. This one's not as bad to get to, but still quite horrible. Not sure if I'm going to have to take this arm off, so I'll get a spanner in there or something. Let's have a look underneath. Yeah, that's them two bolts, and the roll bar's about there on the other side. But you've got a steering rack that side. And not a lot of room this side. So I don't know if there's a subframe down jobby to do that. I think I'll leave that for another day. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just I got them because I was replacing the links at the same time. So plus they're a little bit stiffer for track use, I guess, but not really too bothered at the minute. So I think that's going to be a subframe jobby. But yeah, and while I was doing the links, I noticed that the whole pads are getting a bit low. It's done about 4 track days and about 15,000 miles of road use on blue stuff pads. That excuse the rusty lid discs, I'd washed it before I brought it in because it's caked in mud. I think the rears, yeah, rears are worn about the same. Again, blue stuff pads. So I might get, these are M-Tech discs, but I got the non-coated version. I basically got front and rear disc set with Brembo pads off eBay, but I buy directly off M-Tech now, and you can pay, I think it's like an extra 20 quid for the coating. So I might get some more discs that are coated, and then some more pads, and I might redo all the calipers as well because I look a bit tired, put new seals and stuff in, paint them. Yeah, I think that'll be the next project. Hopefully we've got a batch here that I'm doing for an MG at the minute. So 2 sets of rears and a set of fronts, all been shot blasted, and these ones have been powder coated. So actually a really nice finish on them. So I just got to put all them back together. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I'll edit this video, stick it out there, and then I've got obviously the rear wheel bearing to do, the mud flaps to do, and the surface to do. So I'm going to get on and do that tomorrow. I'll film it tomorrow as well. But I've noticed that my rear arch liner is missing out of here. So I just had to order another one. I think he said that was like 86 quid from Ford. So luckily I found one on eBay for about 40 quid. So I think this pad's even worse. It's like paper thin, that is. Yeah, so I've got to put that rear arch liner in before I can put the rally flaps on. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now, and that's how I get this edited and get this out there, so you guys can have a look. It's been a long time since I've done a video, and see me in part 2.